And we are live. Welcome to episode 17 of Live Lunch with me, Yohaan Philip. And we have a very special guest with us, Matt Davis, who leads the site that meets at the Showroom Centre, the Emmanuel site that meets at the Showroom Centre. Also been an elder at Emmanuel since 2009.
Good research.
2000. Now, I wasn't there. I missed your elder laying on of hands.
Being
coronation ceremony. Ordained ceremony by a day.
You missed it.
Yeah, you and Steve Boone.
That's right.
It's just two of you.
We were, yeah. The young boy, Steve.
The young boy. And Matt's been at Emmanuel for many years as well.
I have, since day one. 38 of us in a school hall. Bring your own chair.
Yeah.
Joel was there. He was launching the church at 4 years old, as you said before. Yeah. So I was there age 11. So,
brilliant.
Yeah.
It's really good to have you with us.
This
Matt,
is great. Where's the food? I was promised food.
The food hasn't arrived as yet. It should be here any minute.
Good.
And it's going to be a fun thing to eat. Joel's away this week. I think he's back next week. But we have a more than sufficient substitute.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Davis. I've been looking forward to this for quite a few weeks.
I used to play for the football team that this church runs, and I was always the substitute.
Were you actually? Super sub?
Actually, yeah.
Super sub Davis.
Did you enjoy it?
Coming in school.
Well, I had to cope with the fact that I wasn't chosen to be a first 11er. So, but I've coped with it, and I've matured and played my part.
But you were also one of the first. You were the first site leader at Emmanuel.
Yes, this is also true. It's been an adventure.
Yeah.
And a
2011
challenge.
we planted?
Yeah, so my wife and I moved from where we were living in Hove, and we moved deliberately right into the heart of the town so that we could become part of the furniture. And then 9 months later, we launched the first service. Yeah. So it's been brilliant.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got the wonderful Megan. Megan, you weren't with us last week, were you?
No, I was in Bristol last week.
You were gigging in Bristol?
Yeah.
Did that go well?
Yeah, it was fun. I love Bristol.
We do love listening to Megan's music. Megan is on Spotify. And Eva, who is behind the production desk. How many days till you get married, Eva?
207.
207 days till Eva and Danisea get married. And that is very exciting.
Well, it is, right? It's a long way off, though.
It'll come around
Yeah,
quick.
It will come around quick.
Somebody told me that the 86-day mark, that's the one you want to get to, 86 days.
86
And it's just somebody without any food.
What happens?
It is a lovely Josh.
What's the 86th thing?
So somebody told me this, and it worked for me when I got married. Wait till you get to till 86 day left to your wedding, and then you suddenly go from 86 to day 0 in a second.
Oh.
In a flash, time just flies. It feels like it drags up to T minus 86.
Okay.
And then T minus 86. Day
So
0.
basically, to get everything done by 86 days to go.
Yeah, if you did that, you'd be super efficient. But
And is that like still an okay moment to change your mind, like to pull out, or
I don't have that sort of a mentality. Once I've committed, I see it through.
It sounds very significant.
Before we get into talking about the preach, you are launching something on leadership. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I'm passionate about people having their leadership gifts developed. I think that everybody has got something of leadership in them. We lead ourselves every day, and it's about drawing people out, harnessing their gift. The church needs leaders. If we're serious about churches and planting sites, we've got to be serious about developing leaders. So we're going to be launching a program where we can tackle such things as calling, competency, character, commitment, all of those kinds of things that need to be looked at, pulled out, examined, challenged in your own life. And we're going to be taking people through a systematic look at or deep dive into what does it mean to be a leader in church life. So that's starting in our summer term. And
have we done some? Because I don't think I've been a part of a church which has done something like this before, like an intentional leadership training track, not just for 10 or 20 people. It's open to.
Yeah.
I heard a staggering number. What was the number of people carrying leadership responsibility at Emmanuel?
It's around the 700 mark.
700.
Obviously there are levels of leadership, but we want to draw people into it, and in doing so, we'd be fools not to develop people and call certain gifts out of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very exciting.
So you are going to run a training course for 700 people.
Well, if we did that, we wouldn't have anybody leading anything. So we got to kind of like, we're gonna filter them
Across the next 5 years.
Exactly, yeah. So, but it's the idea is that we get going now. We're going to start something now, so that we see the fruit of it and the benefit in the years to come.
Brilliant. And you've had quite a bit of interest.
For sure. Yeah. It's been great developing it. It's been great kind of piloting it with a few friends and seeing how we can shape it. So we're looking forward to the launch. It's
Brilliant.
really good stuff.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's my
Thanks
pleasure. That's my
for
pleasure.
looking out for people in church and saying, no, let's develop you there. It's brilliant.
That was almost sincere, but yeah.
It was very sincere. It was sincere. But
Bless you.
and you also Brighton and Hove Albion football fan.
Oh.
Have you got your ticket to Wembley? That is the question, because tickets went on sale for the Albion Plus category.
So personally speaking, it's quite expensive. And so I've decided to...
Gift day and everything.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So I've decided to stay at home with my family, who we all have Brighton strips. So we all get into our strips, and we're going to have a barbecue, and we're going to watch it on the big screen at home, and invite some friends, and that'll be way more fun than spending several £100 and being caught up in traffic, and who wants any of that? Anyway, we're going to get hammered. Man City are going to absolutely batter us, aren't they?
Wait, don't say that.
Yeah, they totally are.
It is
They totally
a
are.
cup. It is a cup semi-final.
It's
Anything
a cup-
could happen.
Anything could happen.
Anything
like,
could happen.
like losing 5-0. That's
Wow.
right. Yeah.
Like
but
Millwall and that last kick of
yeah,
the
that's football.
game goal.
I much rather see Brighton stay in the Prem. And if nobody watching this agrees with me, then they're not fans. We want to stay in the Prem. The Cup is a happy experience, and we're going to enjoy it. Oh, look at this.
I don't feel like it should be an either or. It should be a.
It should be a both, yeah.
Shouldn't it?
In my
you so
dreams.
That's the normal one.
That's the number one
Oh,
coffee
this is
for you, Matt.
amazing. Thank you very much.
The wonderful people at the Villas Cafe in Hove,
Cheers.
who are just brilliant,
Perfectly delivered.
and the wonderful people at KFC as well.
Great people.
The unsung heroes who bring us.
Literally.
Murder
Thanks,
chickens.
Dan.
Bring us. Thanks so much, Dan.
Justice for chickens, that's what I say. Yeah.
Yeah. So Wembley,
Yeah, I think
6th of April. 6th of April.
6th of April, so that's coming up really soon. And I've got this theory that if you were born in Brighton
Yeah.
or in the conurbation, then there is no excuse for not being a Brighton fan. So unfortunately, some of the people I even work with, some of my colleagues, are fans of other teams, which I think is just wrong.
It is very wrong.
I'd almost go so far as to say that it was possibly sinful, and so
Does this make you angry?
it makes. Now you're coming to the subject. Justice for seagulls. That's what I say. Yeah. So there we go. Hey, this looks amazing. Do we just dive in? Is that the
just
idea?
dive in.
That's
So
brilliant.
last Sunday we looked at anger from the Sermon on the Mount series. Megan, do you want to read the verses that we looked
I
at?
would love to.
We never read the Bible on the show, which is crazy when it is based on Bible teaching. We should do this more often.
Okay, so I'm going to read
Go for it.
from Matthew 5, verses 21 to 26. And this is on anger.
To be honest, I've never eaten KFC whilst the Bible has been read before. This
Nor
is
have
the
I.
first.
Nor have I.
This is a
First
very
This is an
exciting first.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let me get my chicken wing out of this special moment.
has everyone else got their lunch?
I hope you got your lunch ready. Oh, a bit of chicken. Let's hear some Bible and eat some KFC.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Chips.
You have heard that it was said to those of old, "You shall not murder, and whoever murders will be liable to judgment." But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council, and whoever says, "You fool," will be liable to the hell of fire. So if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you are going with him to court, lest your accuser hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you be put in prison. Truly, I say to you, you will never get out until you have paid the last penny.
Wow.
So much chicken in my mouth. This is a risky set of verses to read on a gift day Sunday, isn't it? If you're angry, leave your gift. Don't put your gift at the altar, and then you say, "Well, it's gift day. So bring a gift to the altar.
That's right. Well, we
Very
reminded people that for anyone that's left their gift, please bring it to the altar now. And so, amongst lots of howling and wailing, reconciliation that was going on. And so, yeah.
Oh, this chicken is brilliant. I just got so caught up in it. It's a lovely temperature as well. It's not like cold chicken or anything.
Doesn't make you angry.
No, it doesn't make me angry.
I'm going for the bucket. Wow. This is heavy. A bit like the text.
Yeah, let's jump in. Let's jump in. Megan, what makes you angry? Tell us what makes you angry once we eat some more chicken.
This morning I had to go into the Apple store and wipe my whole Mac.
What?
Made me very angry.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's okay. I've got everything back, and it was one of those weird moments where everything was backed up. Never happens like that. So I'm not too angry. I mean, seagulls. Not the football team.
No.
Seagulls.
No.
And I personally get quite angry when I'm in bed, whether that's camping or like just in my own bed, and you're like nice and warm, and then you suddenly realise you need the toilet. And it's like you've got to get back out, and it's like you've got to get into the cold again. So those are probably some of my things in it.
It's a bit sad, really.
Indian call centres.
Indian call...
I'm allowed to say that.
That's right.
I mean, nobody's going to agree with me on this, but you can all nod politely. Sometimes they don't know how to help. It feels like they're following the script, and you're like, come on, you messed up. Just sort it out, or sort this issue out, or spend money on this issue. Oh, sorry, we can't help you with this. This is not our fault. Like, that was a really poor Indian accent, wasn't it? I should have just spoken in my normal voice. It is also.
You sounded strangely Welsh.
I did play this card. They asked me once when I was sitting downstairs in the office if I'd answer the phone, and I was like, no chance. Nobody wants to call an office and speak to an Indian person. So I got off the hook from answering the phone in the office because I said nobody. Yeah.
It's the Emmanuel Indian Call Centre. Yeah, welcome to Emmanuel.
Wow, your church is so impressive. You got a call centre in India. That is amazing. Sorry, can't help you there.
Dear.
Yeah.
What makes me angry?
What makes you angry?
You didn't ask me that question, but I just
I'm hoping you don't say Indian call centre.
I teed you up there. I do actually have. I do have some sympathy with Megan about the whole seagull thing, and I don't mind seagulls in the sense that they're very impressive if you get up close to one. They're beautiful creatures, really. Big. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? Hey, but when they get near my barbecue in the summer, that does me. That frightens me and annoys me. And once I was, we'd done the barbecue, we laid the food out. It was the call to lunch, and there was a seagull that was sat in the middle of the lawn, and I'm thinking, he's just waiting. I assume it was a boy. He was his. I don't know why I said that, but he was waiting to take his pickings. He was like waiting for us to like look down or something. And he would swoop. And I had a Perspex tennis racket next to me, which.
I don't know whether we should go down there. Are you sure you want to keep sharing the story?
And the idea
the audience is wide.
The audience is wide, but it was just a gentle encouragement to fly away.
Yeah, oh, that's fine.
And so I kind of waved the thing, and it didn't go. And so I kind of decided to offer the racket a bit closer. And suffice to say that I was over enthusiastic, and the seagull engaged with the bat, but he was fine. He flew off, somewhat indignant, did not steal any of my lunch. So I'm happy about that.
Great.
Yeah.
So
That's a nice story.
That's a nice story.
That is a nice story.
The seagull has never been seen since, but but his friends have. So
I think all humor aside, anger and dealing with anger is big. It's serious. You don't really want to be on the receiving end of somebody else's anger. But there's also, how do we channel anger well, is my question. I think on one hand, we read scripture where anger and God are in the same verse. So it's not like God hides his anger or takes it away from expressing it. In scripture.
Yeah.
So how do we? I guess what wisdom could you share with us about how we should get angry and when we should get angry?
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? I think the stuff of life feels like it conspires to draw all the worst out of us. If you're a parent like me, I've got fairly young children, and my wife is superb at being patient and kind and merciful, and we try and team it in that respect. But there are times where you have to bring correction in love, and I think what I've learned about parenting is that my anger, if kind of allowed to spring up in the moment, is not a good thing at all. So I think being able to reflect on your emotion just does wonders for kind of engaging with questions like, why am I angry? Whoever asks that when they're angry? You just don't, do you? You press the horn or you yell at the kid or whatever. That's your tendency, is to react. And I think the wisdom for me would be just ask the why question, an internal discussion going on. And I think that's a good starting point. That's the reflection mechanism, if that's even possible. Would be a good one. Taking yourself out of the situation. Yeah. I know my wife and I tag team it with the kids sometimes, and if it's a bit stressy, we know each other, and so I'll walk out the room and Alison takes over, and I'll go and do some deep breaths and ask the why question. Why am I offended?
Hit some seagulls or something.
Yeah, get some seagulls, batter them. That's what I'd say. But it's asking those questions and taking time to reflect. I think is great. So.
I found, I have young kids as well, and there's something about kids where they just know what to say. Their timing is impeccable.
Oh.
They know exactly what to say at what time, which will send you.
You might as well say, here are my buttons, press them.
Yeah. It's like giving them the button code thingy thing. Yeah. There you go, press.
Exactly.
Come back from work, 6 o'clock, tired. Oh, hey.
That's right.
Why aren't you wearing a nappy? And always the stories feel funnier in hindsight, but in the moment it's not funny at all.
It's not.
I was talking to somebody who's a leader. Okay, I won't go any more than that. He said he walked into his 5 or 6 year old son's bedroom like 8 o'clock in the night, and the boy was on his bunk bed and just like standing on the top of his bunk bed, perched on top and weeing onto the floor. And obviously it's really funny for everybody else except for this poor guy. He was like, "What are you doing?" Anyway, sorry, friend, if I haven't named you, so do not feel worried or whatever.
I know who you're talking about.
You do? Anyway, personally, I found going to the toilet is a better option. Sorry, personally, I found sharing with people. Nigel Waller and dear friend at the New England side, very wise. Probably, I've never seen him angry. Probably slows to anger after.
Oh, I have, man.
Have you?
Oh,
okay, don't ruin it. But I remember talking to him once saying, I feel like Nigel, I'm just getting angry with my kids far too quickly, and I'm not feeling. I don't think this is right. And yes, I'd go and apologize to them and demonstrate my vulnerability and my dependence on Jesus' grace and forgiveness. But I need to stop.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be the story of our lives.
Yeah.
So. I mean, I found it made such a big difference because Scripture does talk about bringing things to the light and confessing, and you finding freedom. And so you've got to believe in supernatural transformation when you obey Scripture. And I think
absolutely,
I haven't nailed it perfectly, but there definitely was a turning point in my life when I went to Nigel and I said, Nigel, I'm just really finding this whole parenting thing very hard. With getting angry with my kids. I'd love to say I've never been angry with them since, but I have. But it was just, it changed significantly. I think
Great.
I can't say anything more than that happened. That's all I did was talk to him and say, can you pray with me? And we prayed together. And God is gracious. He loves to work in our lives. So that for me, I found that.
It's great.
That is a great tip on what to do if you feel like I feel like I'm getting angry with kids especially, or even with people, is bring it to the light and find somebody you can talk to.
It's good. I mean, I think we are wanting to build communities that are willing to go deep.
Yeah.
And so kind of sharing a life with somebody, being vulnerable. I'm not saying, we share with multiple people in a big context, but we approach people that we trust and glean their wisdom. People that are ahead of you in life, like the example you gave, just someone who's going to have more wisdom than you, more life experience. So spot on.
Yeah, So I didn't go in like this confession frenzy sort of a thing of like, oh, let's go have fun talking. Or he didn't have any like weird being inquisitive about what was going on in my life. It felt quite like father-son moment where as a son I went to father saying, I'm just really struggling with something. Can you be a father figure to me in this situation? And he was. And I love that about church. I love that there's such a sense of community. We're not doing this by ourselves. And yes, so often we can get caught up with our mission and the work that we're supposed to be doing and as staff on delivering Sunday services and all of this, which are great. But I think there's also stepping back and being a part of community and saying,
that's right,
I need help.
That's right.
And I need a friend, I need a father, I need a brother, or a mother and a sister.
It's great.
And it's great, isn't it?
It is.
We are so blessed with godly people.
We are.
And church community. Okay, so I think those things are clear. I was wrong, I was angry in that moment. I need to be careful. What about certain things, which in some ways it's good if you feel if you almost feel like it's a personal insult when stuff goes wrong. So, for instance, I guess big injustice in the world. We've seen. I reckon William Wilberforce got angry with slavery. And must have been livid and furious, and it might even have been towards slave traders and towards people.
Sure.
He was angry, and you almost think that's good anger. How do we kind of navigate that between, hey, this is an anger that I should keep a check on, and this is a good anger which maybe goes doing something through it?
I think we touched on it on Sunday in our sermons across the sites about the starting point of the kind of right kind of anger is found in God, and because we are image bearers of God, this kind of rising up of wanting justice for certain situations is a healthy, good, God-given emotion, and I think it's being able to discern between that and the selfish, self-serving emotion that comes forth, with kids or whatever it is that's making us angry, motorways, seagulls, whatever. I think it's about learning to discern the difference between the two. And again, for me, it's like asking the question: is this feel like the kind of thing that God will be angry about? Because God is a God of love. He's also a God of wrath. There are things that He's angry about, and because we're made in His image, then being angry about injustices is a healthy, normal process to go through, for sure. I don't think, as believers, we have a monopoly on senses of injustice at all. But the fact that humanity lives with this God-given, image-bearing thing just speaks volumes about the character of God. So, yeah.
I think I love that he said. That's what I was thinking about when he said we don't have a monopoly over injustice and a responsibility. We can't take that pressure on us. No. We very much work with experts and I guess other people who are just passionate about stuff.
I'm working with a lady at the moment who, in a voluntary capacity, who she really, this is her kind of raison d'etre. She cares about injustices, particularly people who are experiencing poverty or exclusion of some sort in our culture, in our society, trying to nurture a group of those kinds of people to sit in a room with some of our business leaders, civic leaders, politicians, policymakers, to try and start a conversation going. Here's what I'm experiencing. and here's, perhaps we can do something about that through our policy making. But her sense of anger about what looks like a cultural injustice is being at work like that, which is fantastic. By no means a person of faith, as far as I'm aware. But yeah,
brilliant. Yeah. Another thing I was thinking about was, and we've got a few more minutes before we've got to finish the show.
I've got one question as well.
You got a question? Do you want to go for your question, and then I'll bring mine in?
It comes back to the whole finding a spiritual mother father. So this is from I think it's from Adsim.
Adsim!
Tuning in. So you say great advice, echoing what you said at Emmanuel Leaders. For those, especially in our any evening service, who are struggling to find those spiritual fathers and mothers in the church. Maybe they work Sunday mornings and so can't go to the morning service to find someone there. Others I know are just very introverted and don't know how to ask. What would you advise those people to do? It is a question which comes up a lot for us, but the avenues can often seem daunting to some young people.
gosh, yeah, that's it feels like something of a conundrum, doesn't it? I think again, it's the pursuit of those that may be ahead of us in our Christian walk, in our life experience. I'd say to you, add some. Email me. Please don't all email me. But I think it's a case of trying to work out who is it in my immediate community. I'd say look out, but don't be too quick to disqualify certain people. I think I said at our recent leaders meeting that you can't get everything you need from one person or one avenue, and so I just encourage you to. Just push the boat out and try different options, and there's no two ways about it. You're going to have to. It's got to be it's a pursuit, and I think anyone that's pursuing wisdom will find it. Yeah. I think there's a mandate, even a biblical mandate. Find it and pursue it. Yeah. So that's.
So I'll tell you a top tip is go up to an older couple in church or whoever that you think I'd like to learn a bit from you. Go up to them and say, hey, let me babysit for you one evening. You go and take your wife out on a date night. Brilliant. Or go and bless your wife, and I'll look after your kids. I'll babysit for you. And then another evening, can we have dinner together? And I'll bring you dinner as well. Who would say no to somebody like that?
Mate, that is...
That's him. That is a top tip right there.
Absolutely.
Offer to babysit a couple who you want to learn from, and then cook for them as well, and just be that blessing.
It's good.
Brilliant.
And mate, you will have a long list of people who want to hang out with you.
I love that. It's very good.
Is there a way of trying to find babysitters?
Yeah.
We should do like a babysitting app or something, wouldn't we? A church babysitting app.
Yeah.
I was going to ask a question, but Adsim's wonderful question has totally. I've lost it. I don't know what my question was. We have another minute. Yeah. Does anybody else in the room have a question for Matt? Whilst we're here, I've lost my question.
That's okay. It's probably fallen on the floor or something.
With the chicken bones.
So, hey, let me just say something. Can I say a little bit more about the lead thing?
Yeah, go for it. You got another minute, so...
Is that okay? Okay.
Of course you can.
I just want to... I would love everybody that's checking in on this to think about their own development. I think the thing that I look for most in young leaders is a desire to be developed, and so if you're not living with that, then I would say try and ask some questions. Why am I not living with this desire to be developed? And so I think I just encourage you to pursue it. Who doesn't want to change? I think we want progress, don't we, in our lives? And as a young man. Which of course I'm not now, but I have been at some point. Just that desire to want to move on in leadership skill was there, and you just chase that thing down. So, yeah, just dive in. We want to develop people. We want to see leaders come through so that we can keep having healthy, vibrant churches. So.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Matt. Next Sunday is Mother's Day, so please. Remember to write your mother or a mother figure in your life.
Thank you
for
reminding me.
A lovely card, get them a present.
Thank you.
The clocks also go forward.
Yes.
So we get an extra sleep, or we losing it? Oh, sleep.
You lose it.
We lose an hour of sleep. So you got to get to church
Great
early.
Mother's Day present.
Great Mother's Day present.
So in my house, we always turn the clocks forward the night before, rather than wait until the next day. Who does that?
Genius.
If you have an Apple phone, if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, at least for iPhones, don't change your time because it automatically does it for you.
Yes.
I know a friend who woke up 2 hours earlier because he changed the time. He did what you did.
But there
and
are other
it
devices.
work well.
Androids.
Yeah, they do that as well.
They do.
Okay, there you go. Top tip. Mother's Day this Sunday. Have a great week. Thanks for tuning in.